Hey, I wanted to come live to you today from Idlewild, California. This is Amy Miller, and we just are completing our packing after our kind of retreat CEO weekend, where we came together to do our first workshop. And it was via Zoom, but it was important to us to meet in person for the first time. And we just wanted to share some reflections from our time together and meeting, and welcome Amy Miller.
Thank you. I'm so glad you came out, Hillary.
This has been really fun. It's been action packed, and I think the first thing I recall is how how excited I was, but also how unrealistic my expectations of how much work I was going to get done. And I think that's important to share because so often we think I've got to get all these things done, but it's really important to be. And I'm really glad that we took a lot of time to hike, to get in the jacuzzi, to chat, to play backgammon,
To cook.
to cook. We cooked good, nutritious, nourishing food.
Yes.
And we went out a couple times as well. So I think it was really a success. And by success, it's not the number of people that showed up. It's not the number of people or how they engaged. It's that for me, we pushed through some fear, a lot of unknowns. This was the first time I had delivered this workshop for me. This is the first time we had worked together and in person, learning all those tech logistics and
personality logistics,
yeah.
like not knowing what it was going to be like to be in person for 3 days together.
Yeah,
But it's worked out beautifully.
it has. So first, Amy picked me up from the airport in San Diego, and we had Zoomed enough. We had met each other on Zoom and had had so many FaceTime chats in preparation that I knew which car was hers. And we went she went into tour guide mode, and we went downtown San Diego and walked through Little Italy and did a little shopping, and it was casual. And we had plans to go to a show that night. And luckily, as the universe would have it, there was a seat available right next to her and her friend group for this show. So we did that. And I learned, oh, it's important to know what time a show starts and what time zone I'm coming from. So that was a good lesson learned there. How was the first day for you?
Oh, so comfortable. The first day was so comfortable. It didn't feel like the first day. It just felt like a continuation of our friendship, just being in the physical presence with each other. Super comfortable for me.
Yeah, it was. So we stayed in San Diego, and then the next day we got up and came up to Idlewild, and it's about 2 hours away. And thank you for driving. So we practiced a lot of gratitude and verbalizing it and acknowledging what each of us brought to the other one. For me, it was really a spirit of generosity, and I'll get a little emotional, so I'll just prepare you a little bit. That last night we got out of the jacuzzi her neighbor had offered to share with us, and I was feeling a little emotional, and I wasn't exactly sure why. And sometimes you don't know something that you've been missing until you find it again. And I was really missing through the pandemic and the move, friendship. And excuse us while this truck goes by. Thank you, UPS, for your delivery. Appreciate you so much. And
She appreciates everything.
well, gratitude is the game changer of the brain. Yeah. And it was a practice. I mean, I've been cultivating this. Shout out to Larissa Chaquare, the grateful chick, who has mentored me through some gratitude, how it changes our mindset. But what I realized is that, man, I've really been missing connecting in person with a friend, and then to be able to work as colleagues and co-creators and collaborators to do this. We're a little distracted by a gray squirrel with a gigantic tail that if you saw it on its own, you would think, is that a skunk or what? Because it's really the largest. We don't have those back in North Carolina and Virginia back east. So I think for me, I got a little misty-eyed. And before I say something to Amy, I usually say, hey, I would like to give you a compliment. And she stood in kind of the doorway. She's like, okay,
I'm receiving it.
Receiving. And she opened her hands and she was receiving. And it really is a lot of gratitude. And it's so important so often we don't take that time to verbalize and express our gratitude, and whether it's little things or big things. And I think all of them have value, because I don't know if I've ever heard someone say, oh man, you are just way too grateful, or you show me way too much appreciation and recognition and acknowledgement, right? So it's something that I think we need and value and appreciate.
I know. I have really valued that. And I've commented to my husband also, like all the things that you've said to me, and noticing. It's the noticing that has really, the noticing and verbalizing and the acknowledgement that has really made a difference to me.
Yeah, being seen and heard for sure is important. We're wearing our lapel mics so that you get a better sound. Hopefully the wind, I don't think the wind is going to affect it too much, but we're outside, we're on the deck in case you're just listening to this. And we have laughed, we have talked, we have shared. And some of the things we shared were some observations that other people would say, oh, I'm not bringing that up. You know, of just that, hey, I was thinking this, or I was hoping this, or I was expecting this, just about the workshop part. I think that was for me the only like, oh, I need to bring this up. This is important to me. And you really received it well, at least on the outside. Was it?
Totally. Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's important when you work with someone that you're able to share honestly, like, and I also shared some things that I thought like next time, because there's going to be a next time and a next time, right? That we kind of, from our perspective, because neither of us know it all, right? From our perspective, our sense of it and what needs to pivot and change for next time, just so that we can make it better. Because that's our ultimate goal, is to make things better, not perfect, but, you know, provide value and make it flow smoother.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And taking the pressure off of ourselves, like releasing perfection and embracing kind of self-compassion. And it's easy to give each other compassion and grace. And I saw us both practice some self-compassion and grace, I think. I think you practice a lot of grace with me, showing up and not having my slides completed until the night before. That didn't work out so well.
I enjoyed sitting with you.
Although I
really did.
I love how you work with me. And I'm like, oh, we probably should have booked an appointment about a week before. And like, hey, let me make sure I'm accountable to have these slides ready. And then you zhuzh it because you're a good zhuzher.
Oh, and you brought your zhuzher.
Well, that's a different device, but it's a microcurrent stimulation. Let's be clear on that, because some people listening might misunderstand that and wonder, what are they doing? But we had 7 of us on camera to start, and we wrapped up with 5. And I would say, even if it was just you and I, we knew we were going to go through with it. We knew we were going to press on and move forward and keep going. And there was so much meaningful to me. I don't want to get too weepy sappy. Sometimes it takes me a few days anyway to kind of reflect. But today, this really cool thing happened.
I was just thinking about that. And if you weren't going to share, I was going to share.
Would you like to share?
I'll start it. So I have a lot of art supplies here at the cabin, because ultimately I'll have in-person retreats, and I love to incorporate art into any visit that people come to, you know, and whether we do a lot or a little, I wanted to make sure that we left with something tangible for each of us to have. So one of the things I have are metal discs with stamps and letters and a hammer. And we last night did an activity where we answered questions from 6 different topics, and we each chose our questions that we wanted to answer, whether it was Oliver might go hunting. Oops.
He's the cutest little pug beagle Jack Russell Terrier.
Oh, there he goes.
He's keeping us very safe. Safe.
So we answered the questions with our legs up on the wall. For that exercise should last maybe 5 to 10 minutes. I think we were there for 30 minutes.
With our legs not straight up the wall. It's a yoga pose where you put your bottom up against the wall, and then you are laying down flat, and then your legs are up the wall. depending on how you go.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, so we did that activity of answering questions. And then today, the art activity was thinking of one word, and one word that we wanted to stamp into that metal disc to take with us. And I have a big page with like 80 words to choose from, or you can think of your own. And I silently looked at the list of words. I was going between 2 or 3 words, and I landed on one word that I wanted to stamp into my disc.
But
And
you didn't share it yet.
No, I just had it in my head.
And I really respected that choice, because we can so often be influenced, right, when we hear someone else's choices. And so I looked through the words, and I thought I was restricted to just, the 6 categories. And it was like serve and love and to be and 3 others phrases. And I looked through the list and I thought, okay, I've got my word. And it's important in respecting space and boundaries and individuality to not just blurt it out. And she said, what's your word?
Yeah, I said, okay, so you have your word, because I had my word. And she says, yeah, I have my word. I said, what's your word? She's like, courage. And I'm like, that's my word.
So it was really cool. And it was a little bit of an emotional moment of how connected we are. And yesterday we did like a fun photo shoot. We had done a big hike, and we were really embracing the space. We did a little bit of work as well, but not a whole lot. And sometimes you just have to give yourself grace of, we could do all, or we could also enjoy being together and the space and being out in nature. We've had perfect weather up here.
I think, especially in October, the podcast that I just released with you as the guest from the Mother-Daughter Art Project was all about life balance, finding balance. And I think we did a really good job with balancing our need to get some work done, preparing for the workshop, celebrating the workshop, spending time in nature, eating nutritious food, having alone time. We did all of that and it wasn't, I never felt like, oh, she needs her alone time. And I was never felt bad about it, because I also needed my alone time. We just felt the energy between us, I think, was very balanced.
I agree. And I think so many midlife women out there, and those of you listening, or you're going to share this episode with someone, you might think, wow, I really would like to find a friend at this age and stage in life where you don't have children perhaps at home anymore full time. They might be in and out at university. They might be doing something on their own. And there's hope out there. And I think that's one of our underlying messages, of that you can find your next passionate project. You can try something completely new. You can find someone that you really resonate with, and that you respect each other's boundaries, because there were many times that you said, oh, hey, I'm going to go do this or take the dog for a walk. Would you like to come? And no, thanks. And,
Yeah.
And we've worked really hard not apologizing to each other.
Oh yeah, I haven't really felt the need to apologize, because of the expectation that we set up in advance. That, I don't know, I just feel like we're both intuitive, confident. I can't think of another word. Women. Can you help me with that word?
What would you think of as 2 highly sensitive, empathic, empathetic, compassionate women who are also very autonomous, independent? We've each been married 26 years. We learned we were married the same month.
We're exactly the same age.
Well, I'm a few months older. You pointed that out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And you have more gray hair. But I mean, that's showing. I mean, I literally.
So funny. So funny.
Yeah.
Well, I think knowing that people can laugh over the age of 50 is really important. And it's not to minimize, because midlife is defined in a lot of books as over the age of 37. And 40 to 60 is the range that a lot of psychology texts will say this is the midlife experience. And sometimes I think it's because the middle of life is when you maybe still have children you're taking care of, and you maybe still have parents if you're fortunate enough to still have them alive. And we have several of our parents still alive, and we're fortunate for that. And we're thankful to be alive, because the option, if you're not embracing your age and where you're at in life, then, you know, the alternative is not living. And we want to make sure that women out there feel like this is not the end of your life when you turn 40 or you turn 50. And there is a big difference between being 40 and 50 for me. at
Only
least.
now, as a almost 52-year-old, do I see the big difference. I think the older we get, the more wisdom, and I feel for me, I'm way smarter in knowing who I am, what my value is, being able to speak my truth. I feel very empowered now as a 52-year-old, almost, not yet, than I did when I was 40. And as my 40-year-old self listening to a 50-year-old, I don't know that I would have understood it as much.
It is really hard. So I think, like, health wise, you know, there are certainly differences we notice in our bodies, in our metabolism, how we feel. And there are solutions out there that are natural, that are healthy. And we're not trying to promote or sell anything except ourselves, in people who are really sensitive out there. And it's not to put down someone in their 40s that maybe they don't yet understand. I think I used to feel put down when people are like, oh, you don't understand. Once you get there, you will, which I kind of experience as kind of a put down. But it's truly this is a shift has truly happened in our thinking, in how we speak to ourselves, about ourselves, to other people, and using our voice.
I would also like to add that about finding a friend at this age. I get emotional about it. You know, finding our people is really hard. And I feel like I found a person, you're like one of my people, like, and we don't know each other as in length, but I feel like I can be authentic and vulnerable and honest and just be me. And I so appreciate that.
I received that. It's very important to receive compliments and love and acknowledgement of, I don't need to know everything about you and every decision you've made, or, you know, good, bad, or indifferent, in order to just meet you where you are today and see you and appreciate you and love you and respect you as an individual, as a person, as a woman, as a friend. You also are a wife, you also are a mother, you also are a daughter. And we have those roles. And I think it's really important to know that there's an individual and a person. And you listening out there, know that if you're looking for a friend, it might not be us, but there's hope that you will find your person. And it's putting yourself out there, because we both had to be brave.
Yeah.
We met in Zoom rooms on a membership, how to build a membership site. And we just started slowly, of one conversation and then another. And then we were making breakfast via Zoom, me in Colorado, her out here in California. And it wasn't, there were times that we would spend a lot of time together. And then sometimes there would be a week or two where we were very busy with our own families or our own businesses. And we just respected that. There were not any expectations.
Well, I also want to just point out that it didn't happen overnight. There was all those micro moments that we had to spend together. And when we had those micro moments, we were showing up. We showed up.
Yeah.
In those moments.
And it's not been perfect either. I mean, we've said things out loud like, oh, should I have maybe said that? Or
I did.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, but you came back later and said, oh, should I have not said something about that? We were probably on speakerphone or FaceTiming or something.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's
never
okay.
mind.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. Not a big deal. And I think there's just value in that. So just wanted to reflect on, let me see, if I was going to pick two highlights, well, there's so many. It's kind of like, well, when I landed on Thursday and today's Monday, So many good things. I really enjoyed the pacing of the hike, that we didn't have to go at a certain speed. I One of my favorite moments, I was sitting here working at the table outside, and you were in your favorite chair over there. And I can't remember how the conversation started, but before that, Amy didn't see that was feeling really frustrated with myself and a little bit anxious about, oh, I'm not getting work done. I'm not able to focus. And I took my Adderall, which I use for my ADHD, and I sat down and then I was focused. And later on, you had said something to the effect of, man, I wanted, do you remember what you said?
Like when I looked at you, I'm like, wow, you're so focused, and I couldn't get to that focus point. And is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, that is it. Because it's kind of that assumption. She could just look at me and like, oh, look how focused Hillary was. I'm like, well, Hillary had to take her medication in order to focus. And I wasn't imposing that on you.
Yeah, all I wanted to do was take a nap in that chair.
Yeah.
I just listened to my
Which was
speaker and
fine.
watch a
Yeah.
show.
So we didn't get as much like physical work done. I did not get to lay in the hammock, so I'll have to book another trip and come out and do that. And just filled with a lot of gratitude, for sure. So thank you.
Yes, I'm so glad. One of my highlights was I just love sharing the cabin with people. So I'm so grateful that you came out. This happened, your trip really happened so quickly. You know, we talked about it for a second. I said, these are the dates that would work. You came back to me shortly after that. You said, okay, that works. I'm going to buy my ticket. I'm like, okay. And then it just,
Yeah.
spiraled into this. I had no expectations for the weekend.
Oh, I did.
Oh,
Yeah.
I just kind of let it flow. Well,
But
when
that's
we have
good.
expectations, though, I feel like that's when we can have disappointment. I was just going to it, not that you're wrong to have expectations. I was just going into it like open hearted. Here comes Hillary, and it's just going to be just really what it is. And now that I'm not going to say it's over because we still have 24 hours left, but now that it's coming to an end, I don't see anything reflecting back that I would have wanted to be different.
That's great.
Yeah, you were a perfect guest.
Oh, I'm a really good guest.
Yeah.
I cook, I clean.
She emptied the car.
Yeah, I unpack. I can do a lot.
Yeah.
I can do a lot.
She made my breakfast plate.
It was today you cooked. So we took turns. It was very shared experiences, shared efforts. For sure. It was very reciprocal.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Thanks so much for listening. And we hope whoever needs the word of encouragement or courage here, you could borrow some of our courage for you, for what you are about to embark on. And maybe write the word down, maybe put it in a place that you can see it, and know that if the courage is not already in you, you can look to someone else to help you.
I think this really helped us connect on a deeper level.
Yeah. Yeah. Feeling safe, being honest. Yeah, it was really beautiful. Thanks so much.
Thank you.